Location: Eastern Suburb Giant Forest. Incredible landscapes spread out on the horizon. Everything here, including the rocks, was covered with huge trees. The estimated level of the map is from the 10th to the 35th. The recommended indicator is 3 stars. Heavy rainfall contributed to the appearance of giant trees here. Wood and huge fruits are the main income for residents in these places. But recently there has been some activity in the depths of the forest. At the same time, the player was actively fighting with the boss. His opponent was huge. Armed with a huge sword, he declared with arrogance. "Little bug. How dare you measure your strength with me?" The player was armed with a katana and almost had no armor. "What should I be afraid of?" he asked mockingly. "Attack." He was almost exhausted, so he decided to put everything he had on the line. After the exchange of pleasantries, the battle window popped up, where the names of the opponents and their status were shown. A player named King Luzhin against the chosen boss, one-armed Amon. Start the fight. The giant swung his huge sword with force and screamed, "Die." But it seemed the player was ready for such a development. He patiently bided his time. And that's when the giant's crushing, decapitating blow hit the ground, causing it to crack from the force of his blow. He dodged. In the raised layer of dust, it was visible how the silhouette of the player was moving next to me, a giant. Movement speed increased by 30% for 5 seconds. He was rushing at his enemy like lightning. His speed even created swirls behind him. And then, using the energy, he jumped up. "Dissection with a sword," he shouted, and in a second he was already behind the opponent's back. The giant's head flew off his shoulders. The guy pondered what he had done. Ducked to avoid the attack half a second before the boss hit. He used the smoke to increase the distance and used the combination of the sound ball as well as the sword cutting technique. "I am a unique genius." He had a lot of arrogance. Plunging his katana into the scabbard, he landed on the ground with the elegance of an acrobat. Ding dong. The sound of the system notification sounded. "Congratulations. You have defeated the chosen boss of one-armed Amon." After these words, the one-armed man's body crumbled into thousands of pixel fragments and disappeared. Ding. Inventory has been updated. A new item has been added. The Sword of Amon. A massive sword appeared in the player's inventory. The required level is the 15th. Designed for swordsmen. The strength is 100 out of 100. Attack modifier plus 84. Critical strike modifier plus 12. Attack speed modifier minus 10. Feature. Wearing level minus 5. It seemed that there was no limit to the joy of the player. This is an advanced attribute that reduces the requirements by 5 levels to use it. I was so lucky that I was able to get such a weapon on the first day of the server opening. I'm lucky. Raising the sword above his head, he peered at it for a while and looked at the wonderful holes on the blade. His eyes were burning with joy. With this weapon, I am sure that I will be the first. But suddenly the space was distorted. A pixel portal appeared on it like a code magic, and a moment later a fairy appeared. "Master." She cried out with joy. "Congratulations. Congratulations. You got a strong weapon." "Oh, is that you, elf helper? Is there any news?" With the hope of easy profit, the player asked. "Yes, master. The time of this task is limited. Will you take part in it?" The task window popped up before the player's eyes. Ding. Time limit. The Bloody Traveler quest has begun. You are trapped in a giant forest. Here you have to meet the elite boss Bloody Traveler. Defeating him will give you a rare weapon and a lot of experience. Players, please kill him. The remaining time is 30 minutes. A smile lit up the guy's face when he finished reading the requirements and the reward for the mission. So that's what you want, he thought. The boss who needs to be killed in a certain time. He should be pretty strong. It will be difficult. And then he grinned and added, "Well, I'll try out my new sword." An interactive mini-map helped him navigate the terrain. And judging by it, a huge number of players were moving towards this very boss, marked with a blue skull. "Master." A huge number of players are already moving towards the boss. "We need to hurry up so that we don't get caught by other players." "I also want to hurry up," the man replied to his familiar. "There are so many of these giant trees that my head is already spinning." Suddenly, there was a strong explosion. So strong that it seemed all the feathered inhabitants of the forest took off at the moment. And the explosion was followed by a burst of purple light. And all this was in the place where the map led the player. It's purple radiation. Something with a purple weapon? We need to hurry there. The player rushed to the place of the explosion as fast as he could. Thoughts were spinning in his head. It was definitely purple radiation. That's great. Even if this weapon is not for swordsmen, I will earn thousands of dollars by selling it. Hurry up. It will be mine. Mine. He was already shouting at the top of his voice when suddenly, a light illuminated him. Running up to the place where the light was, his eyes opened wide. It's the same lair of weapons. In the clearing that sprawled in this place, there were hundreds of different weapons stuck in the ground. Hundreds of greens, dozens of blues, and he was in the center. Purple blade. It seemed that the player had dollars in his eyes. I'll get rich. He was shouting. I'll get rich. It's all mine. Mine. He seemed to have lost his mind when he saw all this. So much so that he didn't even notice the shadow that was sitting quietly on the tree right behind him. And after a moment, he regretted it. What is this? A special hero scenario for me? The unconscious player continued to rejoice, but at the same moment as he said it, a shadow swept through him, making a cut on his neck. What? The uncomprehending player turned around as his body began to turn into a pile of pixels. What the hell? Was I killed? Impossible. It's just impossible. He screamed in his death agony. He saw his sword join the hundreds of swords in this clearing. Not that. My excellent sword. Those were his last words. The shadow turned out to be a skeleton dressed in a black hood, which only gave his appearance of gloom and fear. And only his eyes and two daggers with which he was armed burned bright scarlet. A notification window popped up. A limited time task with the bloody traveler boss. Ignoring the window, Shadow returned to his previous position. His eye lit up scarlet, and he said softly. 418th. Gloomy as death itself, he killed everyone who came to this clearing. A little bit later. The boss is here. My god, there are so many weapons. Eyes are running away. My boss. I'll get rich. Dozens of people joined a group and came to this very place. A blue notification popped up in front of the screen. There are still 4 hours until the end of the task. Seeing such a group of people, there was no point in hiding in the trees. The boss confidently greeted the guests, spreading his hands with his scarlet daggers. Everyone was here. Mages, archers, swordsmen, and even funny classes. The boss's eye turned bright scarlet like blood. And then he attacked like a cloud of smoke moving at the speed of light. One by one, he killed warriors in armor and without as if they were nothing. I'll take down this boss. One of the giants armed with a kind of metal gloves shouted. After his words, it was as if he directed energy into his fist, from which it lit up with a sky blue color. However, a second later, cut in half by the instantaneous attack of the skeleton, the guy turned into pixel dust. Moving like a scarlet ghostly smoke between the players, the boss only occasionally voiced a new number. 422. While the boss was coping with the first wave of attack, tactics were being considered in the flank. This boss is pretty strong, said the girl who clearly chose the class of an elf archer. Can we join our efforts? After receiving approval, she jumped up and screamed while loading the bow. All together. Archers and mages attack from afar, restrain him. All the other soldiers attack him in turn. There are many of us. We will definitely succeed. Kill the boss. Everyone is already at the limit, but they continue to fight. Whoever grabs him, all the glory will belong to him. But it seemed all this chatter did not bring anything useful. The boss was moving towards a group of enemies without a doubt. And only his bloody gaze inspired fear in the hearts of the players. In an instant, there was no trace of the group. One by one, he destroyed each of them, skillfully wielding his blades. It seemed to go on endlessly. Groups arrived and arrived. One of the groups witnessed the death of another, some of them fell in fear and tried to escape. One of the magicians was so scared that he tried to crawl away screaming, I think I'll go. It's none of my business. I was just passing by here. Hurry up and run, guys. If we die, we will lose all the accumulated equipment and experience. But the skeleton didn't spare anyone. Playfully, he destroyed everyone who came to him. 444. There are still few corpses. 3 days ago. In the director's office. Lu Li. I'm disappointed in you. With your abilities, you could purchase shares of the company and become a shareholder of our Destiny company. Your future is limitless. But you insisted on investigating the disappearance, thereby damaging the interests and reputation of the company. The director sat with a very angry expression on his face and continued with his arms crossed. The board of directors voted and decided to dismiss you. Do you want to say something about this? I stood and looked at him calmly. No. I said. Pop-up window. The name is Lu Li. Age 26. Height 183 centimeters. Former Director of Research and Development of Destiny Games, Leading Analyst, Master of Computer Science. There's nothing I can do, I'm going to quit. With these words, I turned towards the exit. The director sighed heavily. Oh, what a pity that such a talent is disappearing. Then he turned to the girl who was standing behind him. Secretary Wang, find a replacement to replace Lu Li. If you can't find one, let me know, we'll add 20 million to Lu Li's salary. But the girl didn't seem to react to his words. Secretary Wang. Who am I addressing? The girl was in the clouds, her thoughts were filled with something completely different. When I chose this job, I just wanted to see Lu Li every day. Now that he's leaving, then I can resign. What does this old man want? He barks so loudly. A little bit later. I was walking down the street walking away from the Destiny building. Once again looking at an old photo, I was thinking out loud. Brother, I finally have the key to solving your disappearance. I'll find you. With these words, I walked on. I wish I could say towards the house, but. Damn. And where do I live? To tell the truth, I worked so hard in the campaign that I was at home once in 2 years. And I also suffer from topographic cretinism, and of course I do not distinguish where north, south, east and west are. Fortunately, I still found my way. Going up to the floor, I heard screams. We're breaking up. Afei, you bastard. You said I was your only treasure. But why do you have 68 notes in chats, and only girls? The guy was on his knees in front of some girl and was trying to explain himself nervously. Ozzy. He exclaimed. I'll explain everything to you now. But the girl didn't stop. I'm not going to listen to you. You're always lying. We're breaking up. I don't want to see you anymore. Ozzy. Listen to me. However, the girl only ran away in tears. Ozzy, don't go, everything I said is true. You are all dear to me, each of you has a special place in my heart. The guy continued to shout after her, but he was surprised when I came around the corner, and not as madam. I looked with sorrow at the humiliating guy, and he only asked in surprise when he saw me. Brother? I probably didn't come at the right time. No. You're on time, as always. Afei spoke with ease. But your girlfriend? It's nothing, he said, and put his hand on my shoulder. In 2 days everything will be back to normal. Let's go inside. Brother, do you want something to drink? What can I pour you? I sat down on the sofa and looked at the women's underwear that was lying here and there all over the house. Picking up one of the bras, I said. Brother, I've told you more than once that you should take care of hygiene. Be more restrained with your personal life. Brother bro. I know. He answered by pulling my bra out of my hands and throwing it into the corner of the room. You're still throwing things around. I said irritably. But he continued. Brother, this time you have to stay with me for 2 more days. You're in such a hurry every time. Maybe I really should stay longer this time. Really? Joy was reflected in his eyes. Super. Shall we go to a barbecue tonight? Although, you must be very tired after work, I need to take you for a massage. Don't worry, it's a good place. However, I cut him off with just one sentence. Afei. There is a clue to the disappearance of the elder brother. A clue? In an instant, he became serious. The equipment that you ordered to be prepared is already ready. The magic moon will officially open at midnight today. Good. The reason for the disappearance of the older brother should definitely be related to this game. We need to act as soon as possible. Some time later. The alarm clock I set for midnight rang. We've been waiting for this moment. Already dressed in special costumes, we were ready to enter the game. I took off my glasses because they would interfere with the helmet. Nodding to each other, we pulled the helmets on our heads. Confirmation of identification data. Identity confirmed. Are you sure you want to start the game? Yes. Welcome to the world of the magic moon. An elf more like a fairy popped up in front of my eyes. Dear players, I am an elf helper in the game Magic Moon. You can call me SS. The game is about to start, I wish you good luck and a happy journey into this fantastic world. Loading. The neurons are connected. The sensor system is connected. Vision correction is performed. Connecting scenes, setting up lighting effects. The download is complete. Start the role of a guide. While the download was taking place, I felt as if my brain was connecting to the machine. A strange, but quite painless feeling. You have entered the village of newcomers in Modland. Well, that's it. The starting city. I immediately called up the stats window. Lu Li. A novice adventurer. Level 1. Profession no. Attributes. Force 15. Dexterity 12. Intelligence 25. Endurance 14. Resistance is 0. Charm 0. Nothing unusual. A standard beginner. At the same time, I was checking the movement of my arms and legs. Neural communication is well optimized. The temperature and humidity in the game is very similar to real life. And while I was getting used to it, my brother had already found a girlfriend. He screamed at me. "Brother, I'm here. This is my new friend Amy, let's unite and go through the mission together." "Go first." I answered. "First? Brother, won't you go? The tasks for beginners are all the same anyway. We have different paths." I answered. "Are improving your skills." When they left, I made sure that no one was peeping. I'm the boss here." The little elf appeared out of nowhere. "Open a special redemption code. A special redemption code window has been opened for you. Please enter the redemption code. And also your password." Password? Number SQASCQ95, etc. A couple of minutes of entering the password. The password is correct. The operation was carried out successfully. You have 3 unread emails. Please check them out. "Master, what are these items? I can't identify them." Elf asked with a puzzled look. "This is a third-party program created by me." I answered flippantly, flipping through the holographic screen with my finger, and the little fairy suddenly panicked and started screaming. "A third-party program? Host, stop using plugins. Otherwise, your account will be blocked forever," she warned me. These words made me think and I started muttering out loud. "These things are hidden in the base code of the game, the system will not be able to find them. It will take 6 months to find them manually. So it's not possible." I quickly came to this conclusion. After that, he began to read the description of the objects that were in imaginary envelopes on the screen. Item 1. Omniscience Bracelet. Required level 10. It is universal for all professions. Strength 0, Strength 5, Intelligence 5, Agility 5, Endurance 5, Resistance 5, Charm 5. Feature. The level of equipment increases with the level of the hero. Equipped with level 10. Improves the quality of equipment. Hidden attribute. Every time the quality of the equipment increases, one of the professional skills of the owner can be obtained by accident. As soon as the whole description was read, I immediately turned to my assistant. Help me hide this equipment." My question confused her a little and she decided to ask. This bracelet is very beautiful. Why hide it? Too conspicuous. I love restraint." I answered without hesitation when the bracelet was already on my wrist. Then I moved on to the next subject and its description. Item 2. A collection of random achievements. Every 10th level, an achievement task is randomly generated based on the events of the character. You can get random rewards for completing it. Hidden attribute. Unknown. Taking an object similar to a book in my hands, I turned to the elf again. It seems that I entered only instructions for powerful props for this item, and the rest is randomly generated by artificial intelligence. The fairy smiled and looked at the object with the words. Thinks it's a very interesting prop. Then I moved on to subject 3. An invitation letter from Asura. The most important props. As I started to open the letter, thoughts were racing in my head. In 2 years at Destiny, I was able to get it. During the hidden beta testing, my brother received this email. This thing must be the reason for my brother's disappearance. If something happens to me, the key will be lost with me. Faye must not let anything happen again. Having finished thinking, I finally opened the letter and began to read. An invitation letter from Asura. Advice from Asura. Don't be afraid of anything, follow your heart, look for yourself. Whoever interferes with me will be killed. Those who are against me will be killed. No one will stop me. As soon as I finished reading the letter, a message from the system immediately flashed in front of me. Change profession. Asura. Attention. After completion, a new storyline will be launched. And despite the answer options, I answered without delay. Yes. I immediately felt incredible changes in my body, and especially in the heart area. Heart. Hurts. I barely said, having mumbled these words more. The pain was incredible, I was holding my heart with my hand. When I opened my eyes, I didn't understand at all what had happened. I was in a completely different place and there were 4 silhouettes around me. They were skeletons or spirits, but they were dressed in a black cloak, like Death himself. Suddenly, one of these skeletons said something in an incomprehensible language, but it sounded very ominous. At the same time as he spoke, he raised the dagger in his hand. Then, at the same time, 4 creatures pierced my chest with their daggers. My body was already starting to turn white, the spirit was about to come out of me, and my head had strange thoughts. What's going on? I do not know this plot. And this pain is so realistic. When I finished thinking, dozens of messages from the system started popping up in front of my eyes. Your character is dead. Mistake. Characters in this area cannot be attacked. System error. Restart. Failed to restart. Failed to restart. System error. System error. Suddenly I began to fall, with that, completely naked and the body no longer looked dying. Where am I? I asked myself an absolutely logical question. It's so dark, you can't see anything. I was falling into the abyss. The game does not hang. System, exit the game. Suddenly I remembered and tried to quit the game, but a message appeared in front of my eyes. Mistake. Data from telemetry failed. It is impossible to exit the game. My head started to hurt and I started screaming mentally. Unable to exit? The exit command is required. How did it happen that you can't get out? System. Fix the wrong code. System. Answer. I tried to shout, hoping for salvation. Suddenly, I felt my hand and raised it. Then he lifted his torso. Has the system been restored? I asked myself. A message appeared before my eyes. Lu Li. The broken skeleton of a warrior. Level 1. Profession no. Attributes. Strength 20, Intelligence 30, Agility 17, Endurance 19, Resistance 5, Charm 5. Achievements. How did I become a skeleton? Isn't that Asura? What is this place? I got to my feet and saw before my eyes a strange creature with a staff in his hand. Wake up. My servant. He said in an otherworldly voice. It looks like the call was successful. A strange magician with such a description said with joy in his voice. Heroic Player 8055, Kai Yin. Summoning the Undead. Level 30. Abilities. Infernal Chains, Corrosive Fire, Summoning the Undead. I was a little confused. He's an NPC, right? I'll try to talk. I decided. Hi, where am I? After my question, you could read the stunned look on the magician's face, which was natural, judging by the thoughts in his head. What? Why can he talk? Maybe I summoned a rare level skeleton? While I was waiting for an answer to my question, a lot of time passed. Doesn't talk to me. I'll look for someone else to find out everything. I decided and turned around in the other direction. Why didn't he kneel down? Looks like he's naughty. At this time, the magician was thinking and got angry. Then the whip did not fall on the slave. He still thinks he's human. His eyes were filled with rage. Infernal chains. The magician shouted and slapped his hand on the ground, which caused black chains with a strange glow to fly in my direction. In an instant I was tied up and asked with shock. What are you doing? Suddenly, a green aura began to shine from the magician's hand, and he spoke with a laugh. What am I doing? Haha. I'm teaching you to be an obedient dog. Is this the new boss? I thought. Looking at the strange NPC's hand, I started trying to find a way out of the situation with words. Hey. I only have one level. I don't even have any skills. Who developed the plot? While I was saying this, a huge wave of air passed right in front of me, in the place where the magician was standing, which broke the chains and pushed me back. It hurt me and I flew straight into the cross. What's it? I shouted, looking in front of me. There was a great Seru. And he was called great for a reason. To compare his size with me, even 100th is not enough, I'm smaller than a nail from his little finger. And this giant just walked forward. Sitting on my ass, you could read fear on my face. Did I make a mistake on the map? How do I play here? Suddenly the SS appeared, which I was incredibly glad about. Master, I'm here. You have a cool new outfit. The fairy said calmly, and there was love in her words. What is this place? I asked without delay. Master. You are now in the lands of utter darkness. This is the birthplace of all the high-level bosses in the game Magic Moon. This is the area with the highest level of danger. The fairy explained calmly. Holding my head, I asked a logical question. How do I play here? Is it really impossible to complete some task? The fairy immediately replied. Wait, I'll check it out now. And she called up a system in front of her, where 3 messages were written. Loading map information. Request a route. Search for tasks. After a while, SS started talking. The request was completed successfully. There is a point 100 kilometers away from you where you can complete the task. Master, follow me. After her monologue, there was only one thing left in my head. 100 kilometers. The next moment we were climbing a mountain, And huge dragons were flying in the sky against a background. And there was no normal way? I asked the fairy and got an answer. Master, this is the shortest way. If you go the other way, it will be 400 kilometers. After a while, I, on a log, swam away from a huge fish, screaming. SS. What path have you chosen? And I got an answer. Master, good luck. Maybe you should put music on the background? No. Master, you have a new message from a fae. Suddenly the SS said and the dialogue began. Hey. Brother, I took one task, wash 20 wild boars. It exhausted me a little, but I have already reached level 5. Good. Not bad. What about you? What level are you at? Are you going to secretly improve? Have you already reached a high level and found a good weapon? No. Still on the first level. No, that's not like you. I'm tired of messing with monsters. I won't do it anymore. Like you always say. I'm busy right now. While. After that, the dialogue ended. After some more time, SS and I were already running away from a huge, snake-like worm. Master. Rather. He's following us. The fairy screamed at me and except in a rude way, I could not answer. Damn. Talking doesn't make it any easier. Finally we stopped and I was able to catch my breath. Looking into the distance, SS said. Master, we have reached our destination. Phew. Finally came. That's all I could say, looking into the distance too. There was a path with holes in the ground in front of us, and there was lava in these holes. Behind all this, the entrance to the city was visible. A big city, with silhouettes of Chinese houses and red lights from them. It's a beautiful view, but it would be even better if it wasn't dangerous. Standing on the cliff, I saw a crowd heading towards the gate to the city. Do I have to stand in this queue to get inside? I asked the SS and got an answer. This will take about 2 hours. So there is an entrance, but no one enters. I paid attention not to the blue passage, but to the red one, which was really lit. Master, this is an unplanned route. I began to answer SS, already descending, in the direction of the red passage. It doesn't matter how to go to the city, you just need to go inside. Your route is too harsh. But. The fairy tried to object. So, don't get in the way. Good. As I approached the gate, I saw 2 pig-like monsters guarding the passage. Hey. What's the matter? One of them asked when he saw me. Guys, I'm in a hurry. Can you let me in? I asked calmly. Good. If you're in a hurry, then of course come in. The guard said with a smile. It's much easier to tell the truth. I thought and thanked them. Haha. Do not mention it. Come in soon. They spoke with smiles. When I got inside, they started laughing with all their might. Ha 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 ha. So funny, he also thanked me. The first one spoke. Ha 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 ha. Let's go in and see how he's going to die? The second one asked. Suddenly, an inscription appeared on the red gate. The registration time for the Fengyuan platform has ended. If you win at Fengyuan, you'll get rich. If you lose, you will be subjected to mortal torture.